Fears, conflict.
Fear has a name, has an object, a shape.
Fear as in what is going to happen.
In which context? If you take fear as an abstraction, it will appear big. To take care of anything, to know it, one has to go close to its specific contours. Fear of what?
कुछ दिन पहले मैंने अपनी मॉम के मेरी मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस कराई। मॉम के कुछ हो जाएगा तो भाई कुछ कवर मिलेगा। नहीं था,
किसी से उधार ले रखा है, अदा कर रहा है, ऐसा है नहीं, पेमेंट की तारीख नजदीक आ रही है, नहीं दे पाऊंगा क्या होगा, बदनामी, लोग क्या कहेंगे।
Is it really so that debts are difficult to be repaid? Or is it just that the conflict arises because we want to repay the debt as well as maintain our assets? The assets in some way represent the existing configuration of life. This is what I have. That is what is meant by assets. And since I am attached to what I have represents me. To prevent myself from dissolving, I do not want my assets to dissolve. My assets represent my way of living. They represent my mental consolations. They represent my sense of security. In most cases, it is the tendency to continue with the assets, to preserve the assets, whereby to continue and preserve the existing way of life is what is responsible for so much of inner conflict. Think for a moment, if it is not necessary for you to really protect a few things, to really defend, to really ensure their survival, continuation, how free and different would life be? Whenever the question of what if arises, it arises in context of loss to an existing mental property. I have this could be a relationship, this could be money, this could be ideals, this could be dreams, this could be material assets. I have this, what if it is lost? What if it is lost? The debt that one takes is usually not squandered away in consumption. One raises debts mostly for the sake of asset formation, right? So the amount that you had borrowed has directly gone and transformed into some asset. Why must you protect that asset if repaying that loan is becoming a burden on you? And mark you, even though we are talking the language of money and finance here, we are essentially looking at the mind. Are you getting it? Those who know a little bit of accounting very well know that you do not own anything without creating a corresponding liability for it. To own anything is to be liable for its defense. To own anything is to be responsible then for its protection and continuity. To own anything is to open the dangers of attachment. Do we see this? And later on, whatever we do, never even considers the possibility of doing away with the mental property. It is taken as a granted that this has to be protected at all costs. Now, given this constraint, what are the remaining options available? Reputation, for example, is an important mental property. It's a great asset. It can even be monetarily valued. Now, protecting and defending your reputation, your respectability can cost you so much, put you in so much of conflict, extract so much of effort from you. But the moment you say that this asset is not valuable to me, the moment you say, I have no obligation to defend it, you are relieved of a great burden. Now you don't have to keep paying all your life. Please see what is happening. An asset by definition is something that would help you. A possession you take in the hope that it will serve you. But what kinds of properties, possessions are these that serve us not, instead demand that we serve them? You become responsible for the protection of the asset. Is the asset serving you, or are you serving the asset? You become responsible to defend your reputation. Of what use is this reputation that is so fragile, that demands your involvement, and that threatens to crumble at any instance? Must you maintain this asset? Must you?
There have been so much importance attached to this word called reputation.
What is it that you fundamentally find important? What is it that is really important in life? Basics. What is it that is really important?
Happiness, joy.
We know that. Without exception, we know that. Is it possible to have two contradicting priorities? What is important is just important. If something is important to you and it doesn't lead to peace, then must that thing remain important at all? Which is a higher value? Which is the biggest value? And why cannot that be remembered? Whatever comes in the way of simple peace is an unnecessary obstruction, does not deserve to remain. If maintaining something is causing you sleepless nights, then it is not an asset, then it is not valuable, it is just a burden. And the funny thing is, you are paying to maintain that burden. It is not merely a burden, it is a burden that is asking to be maintained. It is as if you are paying to maintain your disease. Look at the number of people who own large vehicles. Now, to own a big car is in itself a maintenance intensive thing. Just to own it. You own it, you have to run it, get it serviced, get it insured, park it, maintain it, pay for the chauffeur. And then you are also paying the EMI, servicing the debt every month. Is it too difficult to see that one is being beaten on both counts? You have paid money, you are paying money to bring in something which really gives you very little comfort but extracts a huge price. Can we this afternoon use this opportunity to see what all is there in our life which is extracting a huge price? Have you heard of the term white elephant? You know what a white elephant is? Some of us nodded. Yes, what is a white elephant? Spending huge amounts of money on something which is useless, just ornamental. Just ornamental. You are investing your effort, your life, your mind, your attention on something that doesn't deserve to be there in your life. And such white elephants are present with most of us. How light would life be without these ornaments? How light? Why must life necessarily contain and be burdened with that which is needless? And you can justify every need. You can justify the presence of the white elements in your life. But honestly, really honestly, do you need to carry those burdens? When they are not there, they trouble you. When they are there, they trouble you. When they are gone, then too they trouble you. Must they occupy any mind share at all? Yes? They are there just for the feeling of false security that they provide you with support, that they provide you something to live by. Can't we live without them? They come in the form of relationships, they come in the form of material property, they come in the form of dreams, ideals. Of course, reputation.
Had this situation been so extreme, they would have dropped them, but there are phases, moments, when they would indeed give you something. You would derive something from them.
Yes, but the mark of fair calculation is to look at the whole thing in totality.
My thought process उसमें क्या होता है, जैसे दूसरी इंश्योरेंस की बात कर रहा था, ये मेरे थॉट भी नहीं लेके आया था, समझ रहा था कि दिमाग में चलो 5 लाख इंश्योरेंस कर लो, एक काउंटर थॉट आएगा कि भाई प्रॉब्लम तो 50 लाख की वजह से कहाँ तक सिक्योरिटी करोगे, बट कहते चलो कुछ तो करो, एक सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी तो रहेगी, कल को मामू कुछ हो जाए तो.
I don't know, it's difficult to answer these things very logically. Matters like life insurance or medical insurance. Personally, I would like to live in a way in which the possibility of a huge disease is minimized. If you look at it closely, you will find that those who have ensured themselves well against disease are often also those who live life in a way that invites disease. And these two are interrelated. The tendency to secure yourself against cancer and the tendency to live a life that invites cancer go hand in hand.
So subconsciously you are feeling that since...
Why must you accept a job which necessitates that you drive in pollution in the morning, in the evening, you work in stress the entire day, you chase goals, targets? The whole environment is toxic. And then out of the money that you get from such a toxic job, you pay for your medical insurance. I want to know how wise is all this. We feel happy that we are now insured against cancer, and we don't see that parallelly we are inviting cancer. Are these lifestyles, these jobs, not an important reason behind cancer? Was cancer so prevalent 100 years back? Just 100 years back. Cancer is very much a lifestyle disease, and getting insured is a part of that lifestyle. So insurance and cancer go together. Why not drop both of them? Drop insurance, drop cancer, have none of them. And if by chance cancer still strikes, what is the need to resist so much? One has to anyway die. What do you think? Getting yourself medically insured ensures you against death as well. It only ensures that somebody will foot the bills. That doesn't mean that you will beat death. It's all right. You feel that you have done something, that you have done your bit, but also see that you are doing more than your bit. You're not only defending yourself, the process of defense itself is an invitation to cancer. The process of defending yourself against tragedy is in itself an invitation to tragedy. I would like to really know the correlation between getting yourself insured and coming across a need to use that insurance. There are vast populations that are not medically insured. Does cancer strike them in an equal proportion? You need to figure that out. I suspect it does not. Visit villages, visit places that are relatively untouched by your modern concepts of security and progress. My feeling is these lifestyle diseases do not strike as much there. Hypertension, heart disease, depression, cancer, diabetes. These are a product of the same civilization that necessitates life and medical insurance both. In some sense, they are like two ends of a duality. One end invites disease, the other end protects against disease. These days you can have very safe masks against pollution. And you can blame modern civilization and technology for giving you those masks. But won't that be quite ironical? Wearing a mask that guards you against all the fine dust particles that are there in the polluted air and the poisonous gases, you can feel grateful that you earn so much that you can buy those masks, and feel grateful towards technology for being able to develop those masks. But isn't it quite foolish? Who gave you that pollution in the first place? Why not drop both the pollution and the mask? But such is our situation that we keep looking for more and more defenses without first ascertaining where the challenge is coming from. You are equipping yourself with more material to fight the challenge. But what exactly is that challenge? What is its origin? Where is it coming from? I ask you another thing. The feeling that one has to do well in life, the burden of expectations, where does that come from? You feel great when you land a big job, don't you? You feel great when you progress in career. But why exactly do you feel great? You feel great because not progressing would have been such a nightmare. Remaining unemployed would have been such a mental agony. Do you see this? I'm again asking you, don't you feel great upon landing a job only because it relieves a certain tension? Or are you really looking forward to attaining bliss in that company? It is not something affirmative. It is just that you have been beaten down, pulped down into thinking that unless you have a good job, your life is not worth living. Now, do you see the classical game of duality here? First of all, you are convinced by 1,000 forces that you must have a great job. And then those same forces allow you a certain job. So you feel great. Now, there is inherently nothing great about that job or that lifestyle. It is just that you had been beaten around so badly that now that job appears lucrative to you. Had you just remained in your natural state, then that job wouldn't have meant anything to you. Most of the jobs that are around there in the market are lifeless, insipid, soul-sapping. You still push yourself to be with them just because you have been convinced that unless you have a job, you are worthless. Remove that feeling of worthlessness and you would not bear to show up in those offices even for one day. Do you see how important it is then for corporations and institutions to drive fear in your mind? Unless you are scared as hell of unemployment, why would you work with them? You work with them only because unemployment appears to you the second worst thing. It is bad, very bad. But you are convinced that there is something worse than that. And what is that? Not having a job at all. You are convinced that not having a job at all is the worst that is possible to you. So you settle then for the second worst. You say, all right, I suffer, I cringe, I squirm, I live in hell, but at least I am employed. And that is better than being unemployed. And who convinced you that being unemployed is such a tragedy? Who did that? These same people who have convinced you that such and such are the parameters of a good life. Why must you believe them?
So advertisements also work in duality.
Why must you keep watching those advertisements? Why must you keep watching shows and sports that convince you that you must win? I was watching a cricket match recently, just incidentally, and I saw the expression of a couple of members of the winning team just after they had won. And immediately I said to somebody that that they just displayed would become iconic for so many youngsters. They would take this as the highest expression of inner exaltation. They will say, this moment is what one lives for. They live to somehow come to this point one day where they can jump in the air, punch the air with their fists, and have an expression of deep bliss. Youngsters would say, yes, this is what one lives for. I too want that moment. Now life becomes goal-centric. Now life becomes directed towards one particular moment. Now you cannot live. Why must you keep watching all this stuff? Why is it so important to keep relating with those who are obviously harmful to you? Why must you keep playing safe and say, no, we must maintain our relationships? Why is it so difficult to simply drop a few things? One day you will die. Will you still maintain your relationships? What will happen to all those relationships that day? And you are paying for these relationships with your blood. I'm not talking of relationships merely between man and man. I'm asking about the relationship between man and television as well. Would you carry a TV to your grave? You may, but there are no signals there. And there would be nobody footing the bill. So after 1 month, that which you are so eagerly defending is anyway coming to an end with every breath. Now, why are you so anxious and cautious? Your dear son, for whom you are leaving assets behind, he will just go with your dead body till the crematorium. He will return. He has to live. And for the sake of that son, you have taken so many debts. Your daughter would be busy in her life. Even your wife would carry on with her life after a few days. And the world would run as usual. Just that you would have lost out on an opportunity to live. You would be no more. What are you defending exactly? House loans, home loans, run for long durations, 10 years, 20 years. Sometimes people don't even survive to pay those loans fully. Isn't it necessary to look at the whole deal in totality? What are you getting? And what is the total price that you are paying for it? And the total price is not merely monetary. It includes your mind share. It includes the opportunity cost of a life unlived. When you were running around visiting those banks, you could as well have been by a river. What is the opportunity cost of visiting those banks? And are they particularly blissful places, bank branches? Are they particularly loving beings, bank managers and bank employees? You feel like embracing them? You visit a bank. Is love in the air? Yes? You really enjoy being there? Don't you see that every moment spent at such a place is an unfulfilled life? That moment was yours, that minute, that hour, that day, that week, that month was yours. You could have spent it somewhere else, and you have just one life, and that gone month won't come back. And you are visiting banks and courts and hospitals. Do you know how it feels to visit a court? Aren't you ashamed you spend even 5 minutes there? Alright, you are going there to gain something, maybe it's a property dispute or something. But ever have you put a number to your mental harassment? You say, I gained so much, X lakhs, X crores. And what is the cost of the agony that you suffered? What is the cost of all those unlived moments? What is the cost of bearing so many stains on your mind? You won't want to consider that, right? Because nobody says that it is monetizable. What kind of businessman are you? You don't even know your costs fully. You monetize just a few things, right? And the others you leave as intangibles. But life is those intangibles.
So people don't question these systems when they are youngsters. They just go.
You fight somebody a great deal and you earn a few lakh rupees. And what has been the cost of fighting? And later on, when you get cancer, will you be wise enough to relate that cancer to all the incessant struggle and fight you have put yourself through? Then you say, oh, cancer is such a natural thing, it happens, you know. It's like puberty, happens to everybody. You can even act spiritual and say it's like love. Or it's like
ऐसा लगेगा कि अब हमारे पास शुगर है, इतना पैसा है कि इससे लड़ सकते।
खुद तो कमाते इसलिए ताकि खर्च कर सकें हेल्थ केयर वाली जगह।
simply go and donate that money to the hospitals. Or simply go and provide some free volunteering service to the hospitals. 1 week of the month reserve for hospitals. Go and serve the cancer patients there. But don't become a patient yourself. Cancer doesn't happen. 80% of cancer is brought upon ourselves. We call it, we invite it. As for the remaining 20% possibility, if luck has that in store for you, let it come. Some way, someday you have to die, right? You could die in an accident, you could die from a heart attack. Some reason will be there. Let the reason be cancer. People die of such strange things. It's all right. Cancer struck, I died. You can have all kinds of insurances, and what if you die in a terrorist attack? You go for a morning walk and boom. Can't even claim insurance. It was there in the news recently. Someone was running in the morning to go to probably his yoga classes. Fell in a manhole. Life will not bother for your dignity. In the manhole with a yoga mat. Accept death when it comes. Why must you be so insistent upon living more and more? Now, what is the point in living so much? You are 105 years old, can't see, can't think, just flesh, that too very old flesh. Can't even be sold in the market. Dragging it along. You don't even know whether you are alive. Somebody has to come and tell you, you are not yet dead. And then you realize, okay. One day somebody can convince you, you are dead. You say, okay, fine. I thought I was dead 4 decades back. There is no obligation to live a very long life. Live an intense life, a passionate life. And when your daytime comes, go away. In fact, the very desire to prolong life comes from an unfulfilled life. Only when there is a lot left to do that you want to live more. Live in a way where you are prepared to accept death any moment. You are already so fulfilled. You don't need the future to meet your desires. I am done. Retired. The game of reaching somewhere is behind me now. Now I am just living.
So otherwise many people live with expectation of only weekend.
Only weekend, yes. And now you need a long life. Because 5 out of 7 days are not weekends. So instead of 20 years, now you require 70 years. Do you see? Instead of 2 days, now you require 7 days. What could have been possible in 20 years would take 70 years now. I seriously feel that if you are living fully, then by the age of 30 or 35, you should have no desire left to live any further. After that, you may live another 50 years. But that would be a desireless living. You are living just because you haven't yet died. You are not living in order to meet some agenda. Now there is nothing left anymore. 30 is just the ripe age. At 30, you should be mentally retired. I'm done with whatever was there to be done. Now you can come and take me away any day. I won't grudge. But instead what you have is specimens, 85, 90 years old, still somehow hanging on to life. Going and getting teeth, tongue, brain, eyes, heart. Now why must you be called by the same name? When everything in your body is a transplant, you are not the same person anymore. Better to call you as some kind of
Organic implanted person.
As some kind of collection, an anthology. Kahin कीट kahin karoda. One eye has come from a giraffe. The other is a stone. What is the great need to live 100 years? And you may. It's no compulsion to die early. You just may. But without need. Without need. What do you think? Bhagat Singh was unfulfilled, early 20s, and he's done. A Vivekanand, a Shankar, a Jesus, all in their 20s and 30s, and fulfilled.
After 30, the chance to fulfill less. 30 के बाद वाले.
No, the thing is, 30 years is such a long time. If one doesn't understand in 30 years, the chances that he will understand in 40 years, they progressively keep minimizing. It's like telling someone a joke. You tell it once, twice, thrice. If someone couldn't get the joke in 3 attempts, then chances that he will get in 20 attempts are minuscule. So either you get what life is by the age of 25, 30, 35, that's all, maximum. Or you don't get it at all. If you have missed it in your young age, chances that you will recover later on are bleak. That's why you hardly hear of anybody getting realized at the age of 75. Those who got it very early, while they were young. And realization is such a simple thing. Obviously you have to get it early. It is no effort, no attainment. You get it simply, so you get it early. You can't get it by the time you are 30 or 35. Then you can continue living. There are only 2 kinds of people. One who are prepared for death by the time they are 30. The others who keep avoiding death all their life and live really long life. One week, one day, one night can be enough to give you a deep taste of what life is. And after that, you won't say there is more left to achieve. Have we had even one fulfilling day? Have you lived through even one crazy night? One such night and you won't ask for more. It is precisely because our lives are extremely dry. That we seek fulfillment through future.
innermost of a being, because although we are running, we are seeking fulfillment and we are not getting. So we are trying different domains or different areas to seek that fulfillment. So that inner urge to seek fulfillment, that is natural, or even that is unnatural?
Both. It is unnatural because fulfillment is possible and available every moment. So one has to answer why one has to seek it. To seek it is to say that it was not available. It was not available, so I am searching for it. When it is in fact available, what is the point in searching for it? The inner urge is there, I agree. But why must an inner urge to search for water be there if water is right by my side? It's here. What do I now mean by being a seeker of water? It's there. Or is it possible that seeking has been established as such a virtue in our minds that to continue seeking we deny the water? Seeking has been established as a bigger value than attainment. So much so that we identify ourselves with the seeker than with the settled one. Who am I? The one who is trying. Ever met someone who has come to the end of all trying? And if you don't meet such people often, does that not suggest something about what we value? These two beliefs go together. One, searching is important. Second, searching is futile. Searching must be futile because if it is not, then you will be able to search down your fulfillment someday. You will get it. And that is not to be. Internally you ensure that is not to be. So keep searching and keep making the search impossible. That's our inner conspiracy. Search hard, and when it is right there in front of you, turn your face away. Look desperately for it, and when it is right there, then act blind.
कोई आदत वाली बात कर रही है, परेशान होने की आदत। उसका क्या?
सारा दिन कान में वो लोग लीड लगा के खाना सुनते रहते हैं, प्यार को बतवाना, और ऐसे कुछ करते ही नहीं है।
That's not a bad example actually. Listen to all the
हाँ, तेरे लिए तूने छोड़ दिया, कुछ नहीं कर पा रहा।
Listen to all the mushy songs, all the romantic ones, all day. And when she comes up to you, then you don't have the guts to speak. After she is gone, you are again busy with the songs. One day some angels will land on my bed. Mysteriously. Maybe they will.
बिजनेस भी चलता रहता है।
A small hint. that which extracts too much effort is not worth it. And that which extracts a lot of effort is just an exercise in defending the ego. If you really have to work hard to maintain something or establish something, work hard in the sense of being effortful. Work hard in the sense of work that tires you down. Not work hard in the sense of expending energy. The fulfilled one has a lot of energy to expend, but he doesn't get tired down. So if you are working really hard, if you find that the work is extracting a lot from your life, probably you would be better off just dropping that work. Remove the unnecessary baggage from life, the journey will be very light. And it is great fun when you are traveling light. When you are not carrying loads on your back. And no load is justifiable. No load is a heavy load. You are carrying this by merely thinking. What do you mean by offloading? Does the load come to ride on your back? Does the load insist and beseech and pray, kindly carry me? You're talking of offloading as if it is natural for you to carry the load. Does the load insist that it must be carried? Or do you insist that you must carry the load because it gives you certain security? And that security is a security of thought. It is not a real security. The load is not natural. The moment you refuse to carry it, it is gone, dropped. And I repeat, no load is worth carrying. The bigger the load, the more worthless it is. Ironically, the bigger the load, the more bigger and more valuable a project it would seem. You would say, this is the center of my life. This is the direction of all my efforts. This is what I am out to achieve. So yes, in some sense it will be more difficult for you to just let it go. You have invested yourself so much in it. You are wearing a lot of jewelry. A necklace gets lost. Does the necklace come running after you? Who is eager to carry the load? Is the load natural? Does the necklace say, how dare you leave me behind? Does the necklace complain of exploitation? or disloyalty. Till yesterday you were carrying me around your neck, and today you have become so disloyal.
This is my conditioning that I am carrying over. There's my chanting, for example.
That may be there, but the results, the effects that you are bearing are not limited to your childhood. You are bearing them today, right now. Are you not? It might be coming from childhood, it might be coming from anywhere. But aren't you paying the price today? How does it help you to justify? How does it help you to figure out a cause? You may be having a migraine, and the migraine may be related to many factors in the past and many factors outside of you. Having known that, does your migraine subside? Does it help you? It may have come from anywhere, but it is taking too much of a toll. Stop paying the price for carrying unnecessary baggages. And I repeat, the more unnecessary a baggage is, the bigger is the price that you pay for it. What is really essential in life demands no price. It is free. And hence, the bigger the price that you are paying, the more it is ascertained that the more unnecessary that baggage is. Had it really been something essential, central, natural, it wouldn't have taken away anything from you. It would have blessed you with a lot instead. The real comes free and comes to give. The unreal takes a lot of effort to get and demands a lot of maintenance. Getting it is effort, maintaining it is effort, and losing it is suffering.
That is maturity.
See, I am not talking God this afternoon. Would you rather have me discuss something more esoteric and holy? I am talking EMIs and loans and assets and reputation and more mortal stuff. Do you find that boring? Or do you find that more real for you? Yes?